and they didn't have, you know how we have citizens come and they're your jury? They had the military. It was whoever was the head of the military court there, he made the decision. So it sucked. Like, you had curfews, everything. So they had it for, I think, like 15 years or something. Like, this crazy law system, like the military took over everything, and everything was run by the military. So
does that mean you get military discount?
no, doesn't mean you pretty much life sticks to the fullest.
Okay.
So if they stayed a territory, then they would be able to fall under martial law, and they wouldn't have rights as U.S. citizens. So, of course, they don't want to stay a territory because of those 15 or something years that suck, and they only have two choices. So a lot of people think that's why they chose to be a state. But another part was, you know how I said that you are only allowed to be, or you are only supposed to be citizens of the Kingdom of Hawaii. The people who were there, who got taken over, were only allowed to vote, right? So it would have been Hawaiians, Chinese immigrants who became a part of the U.S., even Haole immigrants who became not a part of the U.S., but a part of the Kingdom of Hawaii. All those people, whoever was part of a citizen, you didn't have to be Hawaiian per se, just a citizen, or their descendants was allowed to vote. But instead, what the United States did was they opened it to whoever was living in Hawaii at the time. And for the past 40 some odd years, the United States have been trying to move Americans to Hawaii to make it Americanized. And after World War II started, they put thousands upon thousands of troops in Hawaii, and they all had a vote, even though they were Americans and had no part in Hawaii or the Kingdom of Hawaii.
That's lame.
So the population severely was American because they were trying to move thousands of people to Hawaii so that they could or a lot of people like to say they like to eliminate Hawaiians from, like, genocide. They call it genocide. So they're trying to kill off Hawaiians by moving all these Americans here.
Stupid Americans.
So on top of that, they also had huge propaganda for the United States, like, oh, you know, American flags everywhere, and, you know, radio shows talking about, oh, becoming a state and becoming blah 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 blah. So they did all three aspects of the rules that were supposed to take place. They broke all three in order to get Hawaii as a state.
Got it.
So that's why.
So
that's just that part. Because the other part, there's a whole other thing with the beginning with the overthrow too. So I don't know if you remember in 1993. Well, of course you don't remember it. But President Bill Clinton, you remember who he is? He wrote what they call the Apology Bill. You heard of the Apology Bill? The Apology Bill pretty much restated everything that the Blunt bill said, or the Blunt report said. Stated everything and said, hey, sorry, we know it was illegal and wrong. Sorry. That was pretty much it. So it's recognized twice by two presidents that it was wrong and that we should not be blah, 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 blah. So there's a lawyer, actually, a Hawaiian lawyer, Keanu Sai, I believe is his name. He actually came to one of my classes. But he went to the U.S. courts, and I think to the world courts, as a representative of the Kingdom of Hawaii, and proved his case that Hawaii is still a sovereign nation that is occupied by the U.S. And the world court, like the world court system or whatever, agreed. And the U.S. court system agreed as well. But they're like, okay, I mean, what are you going to do?
True.
So they're trying to figure out, like, how we can recognize it, like, get everything situated. So that's how Hawaii is not a state. So if anyone asks, Hawaii's not really a state. You're like, technically, Hawaii's not a state. Because when I first went to the mainland, people were like, oh, you guys aren't part of the U.S., you know. He would ask, oh, what's your national anthem? And I was like, no, we are part of the U.S. We are, blah, blah, blah. Then I started to learn and actually read and find out, oh, hey, wait a minute.
So we're not a part of the U.S. legally.
We're occupied by the U.S.
Okay.
Hawaii is singly the
But
most militarized zone in the world. We have every branch of the U.S. military.
But are we considered Americans?
Okay. That's defined on how you view yourself. Because you can say legally you're not an American. Legally.
Mom, we're legally not Americans.
Legally, you're not American because you're born in the kingdom. You were born in the kingdom of Hawaii, but you're occupied. So technically, if the Republicans really wanted to get Barack Obama, they're addressing the wrong thing. They're saying, oh, Barack Obama wasn't born in Hawaii, and so he's not a U.S. citizen because you have to be born in the U.S. in order to be in order to be a president. But he wasn't born in the U.S. He was born in an occupied area by the U.S. So technically, he's not a. Well, according to the U.S. laws, he's not supposed to be president. But they're not. They're
addressing
they don't
the
want
wrong.
to. I don't. Well, I don't know if they want to, but or even if they know, because not a lot of people know. Like all this kind of legal stuff has been figuring out in the past like 10 years. Everything's been like unfolding. Like, oh, wait a minute, they're getting all these different documents and stuff. There was a judge. This has to do with other things, but there's a judge who like took all of Queen Liliuokalani's papers and documented everything from 1893 through 98 or something, or 19 something, and he put it all in his like stuff. And the family gave it to Bishop Museum and said, hey, you guys can have all this, but you can't look at it until the last great-great-grandchild passes away because of all the illegal and bad stuff that was in it.
Right.
Like all the uncovered stuff. So only now these things are being looked through and being discovered, and we're like, hey, it's not just a moral issue anymore, because all this time, Hawaiians are chanting, hey, that wasn't right, blah, blah, blah. It's not only not right, it was illegal, and it's still illegal, and this is still all fake. You guys are just making things up to, they call it, what is it called? I heard it one way being put, like, killed off through becoming a civilian. Like, you put in the minds of the people that, hey, you're a part of us, blah, 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 so that way they don't care anymore. They're like, oh, okay, sure. But it's still all illegal, and it's still not, like, right. So they just create this facade that, hey, it's okay, don't worry about it. Just be a part of us. We'll give you guys stuff. Here, have an iPod.
Here, have an iPod.
Yeah.
I like that part.
A lot of people call it neo-colonialism, and it's just that has to do not only with Hawaii but all over the world.